here is singer-songwriter, broadcaster, audio-video artist, entertainment agent, and your host. It's the master storyteller himself, James Kevin O'Connor.
Hey everybody, guys and ladies, thank you for coming back to podcasting your global career. Really delighted with my guest today, but before I get into my guest today, I would like to just inspire you guys to please share this episode. I know there's someone out there who will find this content really, really valuable. And also, you're helping this show immensely by sharing it with somebody you know. Today, we're coming to you from Salt Lake City, Utah, and my featured guest today is David Chametzky. David is a man of all seasons. He's an author, he's a speaker, he's a thought leader, and we're celebrating his brand new release of his book, When Your Heart Says It's Your Time to Soar. And he also has a podcast titled Peace, Love, and Bring a Bat. Boy, if that isn't the takeaway giveaway that he is from New York, I don't know what is. It is my pleasure to have David on the show, so you better strap up your seatbelts because we're taking a ride today from the Music City all the way to Salt Lake City. Hey, welcome everybody to the Dharmic Evolution Podcast, and my guest today is David Chametzky. Did I say it right?
You did say it right. Thank you so
that?
much.
I practiced that. We're going to have a treat today. David is a published author. He's also a coach, and he does a lot of interesting things. And why don't you hold up your book and show everybody what we have here?
When your heart says it's your time to soar.
I love it. Time to soar. So many people need to hear this. So tell us about yourself, your brand. Congratulations on the book. It's so awesome, as we were just talking about, putting out a book and then being able to hold it and say, I actually have the evidence in hand here.
Yeah, it's even more than just the evidence. We put anything together, anything that we work together really becomes like your music, right? It becomes you, a part of you. And having the book, when you actually get to touch it, when we use our senses, it becomes so powerful. It becomes touchstones in our life when we allow it. And this was one of those moments. They gave me the box, and here I am about to touch my book for the first time. It's like a baby, right? You hold the baby for 9 months, and a book can come out as quickly or as slowly as you want. But this is my first, and I was like, wow. I got to hold it. I had chills down my back. I had all the people that who supported me over the years. But I opened it by myself, and it was, even though there was a million people around me, it was during a party, book signing party, but I got to touch it. It was so touching.
Congratulations. Give us the motivation and the inspiration behind what made you write this.
Yeah, so I've been writing my whole life, and this was a compilation of things I wrote, stories, heartfelt, inspirational stories and poems about love. Really, you want to get to know me, this is a great way to do it. And, one of the first stories was really about your first love. We've all had that opportunity, whatever. And then it's not only about my story. Then I have these little pathfinder perspectives after each story or every now and then throughout the book. So have you think about it, how it touches your life, how it might feel for you, if you can remember the good about the things that you want. Even if you're in a relationship that you've been around for all these years, you want to bring it back to that. And then, at the end of the book is sort of an homage to my mom, who transitioned during the writing of this book. Because the first heartbeat we see is our mom, the first that we do. And I was lucky enough to be part of the transition and say goodbye to her way in time before she actually transitioned. So, that's what the heart's about. We go through three different parts of our life, how I look at it. The heartbeats, that first heartbeat, first heartbeat we hear is our mom. And then we find a path. And usually our paths are not necessarily a straight line. And then we want to soar. Once we find out what the right path is for us, we find those opportunities to soar, take us to that next level. It's either we're growing or we're dying. And we all want to grow and soar to that next level. That's where our passions and our views are for.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you a big believer in goal setting?
I am.
As you mentioned, when you said that, it triggered, a goal is actually for growth. That's what they're meant for.
Sure.
Like you said, when you soar, you hit the goal and you soar to a ceiling again.
Right.
Time for a new goal, right?
That's it. It is, because even when you start learning something, once you learn something, you can't unlearn it. You can, it's a choice if you want to go back to different levels. But I think we all want to soar. We always want to get better at what we're doing. We want to do better. We want to push ourselves. And, we want to make sure that whatever we're doing is bringing us to our most authentic place and being our authentic self. That's why in the book, not only do I have the poems, I have my own personal photography. I use some pictures. So each part of the page, really every page in this book really is a piece of my heart and a place that I have a special place for each one of those stories and photos and thoughts.
You got your heart and soul in this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about your adventures in corporate America.
Yeah, it's been interesting. So I've been in corporate America for 30 years, mainly in the legal field. And I'm not a lawyer, so nobody has to be scared of being sued. But, there's so many opportunities that you get. I've had so many interesting opportunities, and you never know where it's going to go. And as I've grown myself in mental wellness and things like that, last year I was nominated for the Reed Smith award from the Institute of Mental Wellness and Legal. And it really is just learning how to manage things. I mean, I haven't always managed everything perfectly, as there is no such thing as perfection. It's a one moment in time, and it's not a consistent thing. We can continue to strive for it.
Right.
And mental wellness is really one of those things that I really enjoy talking about. And actually, I was told I need to do from a man upstairs, a Grandpa Mike. I had tried to hurt myself, even though I knew all the right resources. And Grandpa Mike was like, "It's not your time, and go help people." Further, he knew I knew all the right resources, and it's time to soar.
Now, who's Grandpa Mike?
I don't know. I have a belief, but it's not mine. I don't have a Grandpa Mike in my life.
Okay.
So I don't know who that is for sure. I have beliefs, but we all have beliefs.
But you knew it was wise counsel.
It was wise counsel, and it was definitely affirmative to saying it's not your time. Right. Get back to doing what you got to do. Because at that point, I'd already been coaching for a number of years. I was taking care of myself, and I'm sure a lot of the audience has been in that situation. We know the right things to do, but we don't necessarily do it. And that's where our learnings go into doing the right thing and putting that into our life. It's all about that routine that we have. When we do the things we need to do, life becomes much easier. We find the right path. We find the path that's going to lead us to be able to soar.
Yeah. So you seem to have a specialty for helping attorneys in your coaching process. Is that correct?
Yeah. I've helped, C-suite people as well as attorneys. I'd worked, so as part of my legal career, I worked for a top 50 firm, a national-wide firm. And so you get to learn how people operate. And then I've been lucky enough also to be in a corporation, a Fortune 50 company, and you learn how to kind of play up, but also know what type of stresses that they are. And by knowing the stresses, you know when people are reacting and what they need to do. And by learning that, you also know how the way, by experiencing them yourselves, you can I help them cut to the front of the line.
Yeah. So with all the stress in that industry, can you share with us any specific technique that you help coach them off the ledge, change a thought habit, change a paradigm that they are, completely controlled by, that is operating inside of them to help them get on a path to a healthier mind?
Oh, you said it exactly that way. It's really starting off with yourself. Once you can control yourself, everything else goes out from that way. And no matter what's going on outside of us, so not only in the legal field, but in any field, even in your individual life, it's all about getting that peace. So my podcast is called Peace, Love, and Bring a Bat.
I was just going to ask.
But
I love that title.
But the peace part of it, and a friend of mine just really one of our conversations was about peace. And even religiously, we think about Jesus's life. There was a lot of uproar outside of his life, but he kept true to himself about finding that peace. And he knew what passion he needed to have. And that's what we all do is once we know the peace and we're able to control ourselves, we can start using that as a leverage to our passions and how to go further. And then, the leverage is definitely a bad, and it's really all about growing and knowing your non-negotiables, knowing your boundaries in life, and hitting the sweet spot. If you've ever swung a baseball bat and hit it right, it just feels so good.
Yeah. Tell me about, was there a defining moment in your life where you knew you were gifted to help coaching?
Yeah. So when I first learned one of the techniques, it's called havening. And that was the first technique I learned. It's a psychosensory touch modality where you just start rubbing your hands. It goes a lot deeper than just rubbing your hands. But if your audience or you rub your hands when you get stressed, nice and slow, it's going to create delta waves, which is your brain waves that we create anyway when we go to sleep.
I do this all the time.
Yeah. And we don't realize it, right?
Especially in the winter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. In the winter, you might do it a little faster, light a little fire.
Yeah.
But the great thing about that is once you can do that, if you can reset yourself in any circumstance, you can find that peace within yourself. And that's where the magic happens of then what do you get to do? You get to make some choices differently. And it only takes between 10 and 15 seconds to start generating it. And depending on what your triggers are, we can then work on that as well. And that's when I learned that I learned it by putting myself in therapy, and this therapist was like, hey, you got to touch yourself and this and that. I was laughing, but I was in so much pain. I wanted to be out of that. And by doing that and then learning this, I became certified. I was number 79 in the world to learn this technique. And then I started working with people. I found such joy. I'm sure like you in your practice, the joy you have when you help somebody, when you see that spark in somebody's eye, that's magic.
Yeah. Yeah. When you touch them, you reach them and you help them accomplish, what their desire is. There's no greater joy than so we're kindred spirits.
Yeah. It definitely makes you soar.
Yeah, for sure. So you're from New York.
I am from New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell.
Yeah. Well, that's where the bat comes in. I just, I do, there's a lot of things I do to talk with my New York. So one of the charities I'm working and building is Goons for Good. I know a guy, I like playing with the name, and I think New York is one of those magical cities.
So what is Goon? What is that exactly?
It's a charity that we can help push it along to different charities that we support, or I can connect people to charities that they like. So, I know a lot of people by going out there and pushing yourself out there. You just get opportunities, and charities and people who are good. Now there's the big, long charities. I like helping the individuals. I like helping the community charities because those don't always get all the visibility or finances that they need to help people. There's so many great opportunities. So I think if we know everybody, we know a guy, we know some people.
Yeah.
It's good to connect the right people to the right opportunities.
Is that an East Coast thing? I got a guy. You got a guy? Hey,
Well,
man, I got this thing. I need a guy. Who's your guy?
I think it probably is an East Coast thing. Definitely a New York thing. I know a guy,
Yeah.
and you play with it. So, and it's one of those things that you just know what you do. And it's special because if you come to me and say, hey, I'd like to help out somebody with cancer, I know a guy.
Right.
You want to help out veterans? I know several organizations. You tell me what you want to do. Substance abuse. There's so many different ways. And that's one of the blessings that I had in life. I met Frank Shankowitz, who is the creator of the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Wow.
He was the co-creator with the mother of the boy,
Yeah.
And he once said, everybody could do something. You could show up. If you don't know how to do something, guess what? You can paint the fence. You can just pick up somebody's garbage and help somebody out. It doesn't have to be big charities. Make those small movements become large opportunities.
Yeah. Some wise woman told me one time, don't ever expect large blessings if you can't appreciate the small ones. Yeah, I think the Lord works just that way because he doesn't measure it in terms of dollars or giant pounds or, spectacles. It's more what's your heart doing?
He tests you, right?
Oh,
Are
yeah.
you worthy? He's
Yeah.
he's not going to give you $1 million if you can't hold on to $5.
Yeah.
He's not going to give you an opportunity to save the world if you can't save yourself.
Right. Exactly. Hey, let's talk pizza.
Sure.
New York, New Jersey, two best places in the world for pizza. And I've traveled around, and I got to say, there's no place like home.
I tease all my friends all over, and Chicago, and we have the deep dish versus the thin slice,
right.
crispy versus other ways. I love crispy. Try not to eat it with a fork. But now, there's more pizzas that they start. Growing up, it was much easier to not eat it with a fork because it's just a slice of pizza, a little pepperoni, a little meatball. That's fine. But now they have these whole meals. Chicken palm, they're mixing it up. Still cannot eat it with a fork, but it's a lot of fun.
It's getting crazy, isn't it? It's almost like you need a fork. You almost need a pitchfork to eat a pizza these days. So best client is, we talked about attorneys, but they're not the exclusive. I mean, you'll help other people. Like, what other areas of people would be best for you to serve?
Yeah, so the best people that would serve me is C-suite, because I had the corporate experience. I know the resources. It's tough to understand that they don't have a lot of time, and the modalities I use, this havening as well as some of the other ones, are really quick. I can do a flip of the switch pretty quickly, and we can work on, and based on between electronically and my experience, we can work pretty quickly. But also I've worked with individuals. So there's lots of people. Because I think there's three aspects of our life. There's the individual part of it. There's our businesses. So entrepreneurs need it. We don't get enough, as an entrepreneur, we don't get enough resources. And then also relationships. You have to make sure there's a fine balance. When we talk about that bat, when you swing the bat, you want to make sure you have that right balance. And your relationship has to be part of that communication part of that relationship. So the ideal clients is, I have programs really for everybody, and depending on what you need, I can fit into it, because everybody has that. We have different fingerprints, and it's not just I'll take anybody. You need to sit with me, and I'm not right for everybody, because I do have that little bit of that New York attitude. That's one of the programs, that personal attitude towards happiness on the path, and really that the attitude, the ideas of the way you want to be handled and things like that. I can handle everybody. But it's really all about learning what you want to do and the focus and how quickly you want to grow.
Yeah. What's the best place for people to reach out to you?
Well, they can reach out to me, email, onthepathandwhy@gmail.com. I'm on social media, and my website is all David Chametzky, and I'll spell that for you. CHAMETZKY. And I'd love to hear people. I'd love to hear feedback. And, that's really what it is. We're all in it together. And when we can help each other out, that's the beauty of life.
We will make sure all of these links are put in the show notes for you folks to reach out to David. Don't be shy. He's got a lot to offer. Tell me what you like to do when you're on downtime, chill time for people. We got to turn off business.
Yeah, I love, I do love writing. So that's why I continue to do a bunch of writing. Love photography. I love being with my family. There's a lot of things that we do, and we need to do that. I mean, even just meditating, just being by myself and resetting my own self. I learned the challenges that I faced by not doing that. So now I make sure that that's, I try to only make a mistake once.
Right.
And by doing that, I then have learned what to do. So, there's so much traveling, now the world is opening up again.
Yeah.
I want to do so much, because you never know who you're going to meet. I was once in Cuba on a trip, and the woman was talking about the revolution that was in Cuba, and she was a little upset. So she was a tour guide. So I took her aside during the tour, and I did the havening techniques on her. And she was like, that really helped. So, you never know where you're going to meet. And that's the beauty of life. You never know who and where you're going to meet, and where you're going to be able to make changes in people's lives.
I feel like you practice silence. Do you?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah. But
you find it refreshing?
I do. I never did. That was when the pandemic, that was the worst thing. It was right after I had attempted to hurt myself, and I was stuck in my house by myself.
Right.
the scariest place.
Well, this was right after that.
Yeah,
We
it
can
was
talk
it was
about
it was right before the pandemic. It was
Right.
a few months right afterwards, and I learned how to be comfortable with myself.
Yeah.
I learned to face, because I knew the right resources. I just wasn't using them. But then I was like, I need to use them, and I did all the things that needed to get done. And man, it was worth it. It really is. The monsters under our beds are not as scary as the monsters in our heads.
Yeah.
And when you can conquer the monsters, man, life becomes so much easier, and you can face so much more.
Yeah. People tend to fear silence until they learn to not fear it, and then it becomes their best friend.
Yeah.
There's something about it that is very powerful and allows you to mind.
Yeah.
Well, this was really awesome. I really enjoyed having you come by and share your stories with us, being a part of the Dharmic Evolution. So check out all the links in the show notes for David. And David, it was a pleasure.
Thank you so much, sir. God bless you.
Another great show. So glad you guys showed up today for Podcasting Your Global Career. Please check out all the links in the show notes. My coaching link is in there. Let's uncover your purpose and get a discovery session with me. No obligation. What have you been waiting for? I'm your host for Podcasting Your Global Career, James Kevin O'Connor. So until the next time when we meet again, I'll either see you on the socials or I'll see you from the stage.
Ride on, baby, won't you take a ride with me? Ride on, we can untangle all the mystery. If wishes were windows, I'd open one and find that freedom is really a simple state of mind. So ride on, baby, won't you take a ride with me? Ride on, we can untangle all the mystery. Ride on, baby, you and I can find the key. Ride on, we can unlock each other's destiny. I taste the breeze of freedom, it's tingling on my tongue. You and I out on the road will stay each other's destiny. I'll take you places that you've never seen. I'll take you places that you never dreamed. I'll take you places that were pictures in your mind. I'll take you places